Now, the ANC says it's evacuated its headquarters in Johannesburg following what it calls a security breach. This follows discussions with the Liberation Struggle war veterans who are allowed to camp inside Luthuli House overnight. They said to have refused to leave without meeting the senior party officials. The ANC spokesperson says Deputy President David Mabuza is scheduled to meet with the group on Thursday. For more on this, I'm joined now by the ANC spokesperson, Pule Mabe. Pule, good evening, and thank you very much for your time. A security breach at the headquarters, how did that come about?
Evening, Tabo, and evening to your viewers. Just to clarify and put context so that there is a fuller out there. It is actually more of a health breach. There was a meeting by the military war veteran, Liberation Struggle war veterans who had marched to Luthuli House. They made a delegation at our headquarters, which was led by the head of the presidency, Comrade Spokesperson, and our general manager, Comrade Phoebe Potfide. The meeting went on till late yesterday, and they had agreed that the grouping or delegation that was there could use our media center for the night to rest in there, because some of them were coming from far afield. So when they had wanted to proceed being at the headquarters again this evening, it would have been a little bit of a difficulty given the fact that there is only a specific number of people. I mean, the media center of Luthuli House is not designed to be a dormitory. It is really designed to cater for the media yourselves who come there for press conferences. Once we are having to deal with a situation where we have to find ourselves almost acting like a dormitory, given the fact that we are still under COVID conditions, it becomes a little bit difficult for us to be able to comprehend with such a situation. So it was really more of a health threat, not necessarily a security issue, because you can only keep a certain number of people at your own media center. And these people were allowed to be at the media center. When they were there again and another group was still coming in today, they had to be clarified that there is a meeting that is being organized with the Deputy President, because the Deputy President really leads that process that was started by President Cyril Ramaphosa at the level of government to deal with the plight of military veterans who feel surrounded and all of that. And there is progress that is being made. We did assure them that that meeting will take place on the 14th, which is Thursday, with the Deputy President. Yes, also the office has indeed confirmed that. So the evacuation has to make sure that we have to protect the lives of others, especially because we are finding ourselves...
What were you avoiding, though? I mean, your statement is a little bit confusing, because you're saying you ordered an immediate evacuation in order for the relevant health and security authorities to attend to the breach. What do you mean by that?
Well, of course, I mean, once you have got more people coming into the media center, that has got its own security and health issues because of where we are now. The media center of the ANC is quite small. You can only take a number of people. That's why even yourselves, now under COVID conditions, will even ration the number of journalists that will allow to come to press conferences. Most of the time, it will be yourselves broadcasters, and will say radio and newspapers can then join in on virtual platforms. So now when you have a group of military veterans that exceed the number of people that we always allow at our media center, it then compromises our own security as well as our own health issues. Even the employees, those that are in the employ of the African National Congress, we have begun rationing how many of them could be at head office at a time, because we ought to be seeing ourselves being compliant with the relevant health protocols that are put in place to fight COVID-19.
But at what point? I mean, why they only evacuated on Tuesday evening? I mean, I believe you allowed them to stay overnight. They slept in that.
Yes. I mean, it was out of. We had made that concession in discussion with them yesterday, in part because the meeting went on till late, and some of them would have pleaded that they do not have transport and all of that. We said, okay, it's fine. When when it's much lighter in the day and there's the availability of public transport, really we're acting out of that. Because you also understand, these are not necessarily cadres of MK veterans, which is aligned to the African National Congress. These are people coming from APLA, coming from Azanla. So the ANC as a caring organization that has bestowed on itself the mantle of leading society respond to the plight of everyone, even if they were not members of the African National Congress or they were not coming from organizations aligned to the ANC. Here was ANC demonstrating leadership, a message that we always take out there in society. Yeah. So that's why even when we're going to communities, even under local government elections, we make people understand that we protect the right to vote, even of those that do not belong to the ANC. This was really a demonstration of that, Kibos.
Yeah. One would say, did the ANC call security to kick out military veterans? And
it's not about calling. I think, Kibos, you are trying hard to use strong language in this instance. It's not about calling security to kick out. The media center at Luthuli House is not designed as a dining hall or a dormitory. Yeah. It is designed to cater for journalists who come there to come and really interface with us when we've got media briefings. An engagement that happened yesterday, which we have acceded to ourselves to listen to the plight of these military veterans and assure them.
Oh, we seem to have lost Pule Mabe there on that line as he was still explaining. A bit of a confusing media statement where they had to call health and security authorities, but it wasn't a security breach. It was more of a health breach. Of what nature is what I was trying to get to understand. Hopefully those details will become a little bit clearer as we try and establish that connection with Pule Mabe. He says, of course, following a lengthy engagement that took place on Monday, they did make